Hey, everybody who's in the Resilient AF Mastermind group. This is Jason. Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself, what company you're with. What are we going to chat about today?
Hey guys, so my name is Jason Bugra, and I am a property manager with Ace Agencies, well, City and Associates Property and Strata Management. It's based out of Abbotsford, and we provide property management services all across Fraser Valley. Anyway, I am a partner of this business, and I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years professionally, and before that, I was kind of a realtor. I did a lot of worked with a few startups, worked at Rogers for a long time, and I got my degree in, I got my business bachelor degree, and I attended UFE, minor in economics, minor in communications. Yeah, so that's my history. I mean, I
Mhm.
could go on forever, but that's kind of like a quick summary of what I did in the last 10 years, if anything.
Awesome. So I like to call you the expert in property management. You're my go-to guy. Everyone that will reach out and they're like, "Are you still in real estate?" I'm thinking that they're ready to buy and sell. But most of the questions are, "Do you have any rental units?" And I'm like, "Oh, hold up. You can go see Jason." So with that being said, what are the up-to-date rental laws right now during this pandemic? Like how can you protect yourself as a landlord?
I mean, the rules, the fundamental rules of residential tenancy law for BC haven't changed, besides a few key things that are temporary changes due to the
Okay.
COVID-19, such as evictions are not allowed anymore. So
I
if
was
your
gonna
tenant
ask
does not
that.
pay rent,
Yeah.
um, if you have to move them out because you sold the property or whatever it may be that you need your tenant out of the property, you cannot serve them any notices in regards to that,
Mhm.
unless it's emergency situation that they're harming the property, that they're at to you, they're something crazy, and you really got to have the evidence and proof to back that up. You can't just say that my tenant's crazy, but
Yeah,
in reality, they're not paying you rent.
right.
Now, how to protect yourself? Well, yeah, you can take a few measures, and this is again a very, very new. This has never happened before, at least in
Hmm.
our lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
And communication is key, right? In a time like this, these are the times that really, really show you how well you did screening your tenants and placing them in your
Oh my
properties,
goodness. Well
right?
said. Yeah, so
it,
true.
it will really test the quality of work you're doing behind the scenes and whether it's good or not. But anyway, well, I mean, at the end of the day, what's important is, um, there's great families, great tenants that won't be able to afford the rent and whatnot. So communication is essential in a time like this.
Hmm.
You need to be, don't react, respond. And it's extremely important that you listen to their problems and their situations in this time of day, and kind of help them. You got to aid them. You got to support them. You really have to. You have no other choice. You can't just simply evict them. You can't attack them. Sometimes, majority of them, it's not their fault. Now, there is a small percentage of people who are take advantage of the situation,
Yeah.
but they'll get eventually kicked out. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
They're just extending their stay a little bit longer, and
Right.
that's unfortunate. And I'm sorry for whoever has to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, it's the bigger picture is you got to focus on the communication of it. And there's a series of fun programs that are coming out not daily, and it's really extremely hard to stay on top of it. So every morning I'm watching Trudeau just to see if
Mhm.
any new announcements are coming or not. Um, Things like there's a BC provincial grant of $500 that just came out for families who need it.
Right.
Uh, of course, the $2,000 uh, EI, emergency fund, I guess, for people who are especially self-employed, and we have tons of self-employed people in BC, tons, just tons. So it's
Yeah.
great. It's a huge benefit for all of us out here. So
You know what? I'm gonna get you to hold that thought and
yeah,
share my screen and show. everybody the resources that we'll add in the group so that they can easily find it if they're a landlord, to give to their tenants. So this is, can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So bchousing.org, this is the BC Temporary Rental Supplement Program.
Yeah.
So providing up to 500 a month to help renters and landlords during the COVID-19 pandemic. Program overview, tenant eligibility. So there's so much info here of how to even apply for it. Now, for you as a property management, are you getting a lot of calls from landlords saying, My tenant's not paying me," or they're asking for an extension on rent? Like, what do you advise them in that
Mm.
situation?
So part of what we do is we manage the rentals for on behalf of our clients. So
Hmm.
in in that, back to the question you're asking, we are pretty much the landlords. We're
Mm,
dealing with it. Our landlords are not dealing with that.
okay.
And yes, we have set up some payment plans.
Hmm.
Initially, I thought I was going to get like 10% default rate, but in all reality, what happened was it started off in less than 5%, and now it was already reduced to less than like 1% of our
Hmm.
tenants of not paid. And
Mm-hmm.
though that 1% of tenants, only few of them are actually in a dire situation, which we already arranged payment plans, and the other ones are people are just going to get kicked out. And we deal with high end to low end rentals, and some people take advantage of the situation, and we will attack when we can, right?
Right, right.
But in the $500 thing, not many people have applied, to be honest.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not that big right now. I not for this month.
Yeah, yeah.
Next month for sure.
Mm-hmm.
This month it was kind of like we're in between. The COVID just started, the quarantine
Yeah.
just started, right? People still had money, but now people are running out of money. We've the cool thing about the $500 grant, it goes directly to the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
But the tenant has to apply, and then the landlord will get some information, an email, and they have to respond and upload a bunch of information. So there is a lot of work that we
Okay.
got to do on our end. Both tenant and landlord has to put in some work to get the $500 grant, and it's
Right.
up to $500. So it really depends on the household, whether you
Okay.
have dependents or not. If you don't have a dependent, I believe it's around $300.
Mm-hmm.
But this is so new, so we don't know exactly how it's going to pan out, how
Yeah.
quick we're going to get it, how delayed it may be. We don't know.
Right.
The $2,000 EIM, 6 million people already tried it, and that's amazing. That works
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that's going to continue on. So that's a huge help for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so because your clients are the landlord, so and you're acting as a landlord. So let's say someone's watching this right now and they didn't hire a property management company and they have a tenant that says, um, "Hey, listen, I can't pay this month or the next couple of months. I'm waiting for this grant to kick in. Could you give me a break on my rent?" Like, how do you respond? What could a landlord say in that situation?
I think a lot of it is to do informing and
Mhm.
educating your tenants, and that did happen in the beginning. We
Yeah,
did get a bunch of emails and stuff that, hey, can you just give us a break? You can defer your
yeah,
mortgage, and we're like, just because you can defer your mortgage doesn't mean you get free rent. Doesn't mean
right.
that we don't have to pay the mortgage. Doesn't You still have to pay interest on top of interest?
Hmm.
That is a question that that did come quite often last month, and I would imagine next month's going to be the same thing. But we've been sending a series of letters, and I mean, you can, for landlords who don't have managers, there's so much information out there now that people are posting. You can almost forward that information to your tenants and kind of
Mm-hmm.
informing them, I still have to pay my taxes, the insurance, maintenance, management, if that, and property management, I mean, and mortgage and interest. All
Hmm.
these things are costs that, and plus city utility bills, if that. And these are all expenses that do not stop. These are bills that continue on, whether you pay or not, whether COVID-19 happens or not. It just, these expenses are always going to be there, to fix expenses. And um, when you kind of inform them that the owner's not getting a free ride, it, it becomes a problem.
Hmm.
And you know what? The biggest thing is a lot of owners depend on the rental income as their livelihood, especially the seniors. They don't
Yeah,
have any other cash flow.
yeah.
So It will never happen. There will be never free rent. I know there's been a lot of uh, people protesting or trying to start something like that,
Hmm.
right? They're trying to. I've seen it online. I'm sure you have too, right? On Facebook, there's like millions of people
Yeah.
petitioning against rent.
Yeah.
That will
Yeah.
never happen. It will
Yeah.
actually, and this is my personal opinion, it will kill the economy in so many ways that the government. The reason why the government has announced anything like that is because they know it collapse economy,
Yeah.
and everyone would be worse off. Even tenants who think that they wouldn't be worse off, they will lose their job forever. Put it that way, if they stop
Mhm.
paying rent, because it's so deeply rooted in our economy and our financial system works. Anyways, I could go off a tangent, but I
How
kind of realized.
so what precautions are you taking? Is your company taking? Because I know people are probably asking for showings on rental properties and stuff. Are you guys still conducting showings and open houses for rental units or?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So what we're doing and doing them very differently. We're one of the few companies that have been running consistently since the whole quarantine. I
Mhm.
mean, there's been no layoffs. We've been running pretty full operation actually. Things that we have adjusted in terms of the traffic has reduced greatly. We have locked door policy now. We don't allow clients in. We
Mm.
don't do in-person meetings
Okay.
at the minimal possible.
Mhm.
Um, Showings are all pre-approvals only, no open houses. And that's I really like that actually. And it's something that we wanted to do for a long time. However, it's hard to do when all your competitors and they don't follow the same route. But now everyone's doing it, and COVID-19 has made it expedited. Where now instead of doing an open house, we do pre-approval showings only, and
Mm.
that's made a massive difference. Yes, my showings
Yeah.
have reduced due to the COVID-19, but overall, it's our showings are so much more effective now. Instead of having 10 people in my showings, I have one person,
Yeah.
and of course, we're keeping our social distance. I open the door for them. I don't walk them through the house. But then our conversations, whether they want it or not, it's very like I'm getting 90% success rate. It's amazing. I love it.
Wow. That's actually really good advice because I could see some agents on here being like, "Oh, okay, that's actually amazing because that gives us the opportunity to make sure if our buyers are pre-approved, right? Like if more agents had said, yeah, I'm sorry, I have to do private showings, but your buyer needs to make sure they're pre-approved for before they even
Exactly.
search, right? Like that's awesome. So how do you foresee the future looking? With a new way of life right now, like this is our new reality. Things are going fully digital. What does it look like for you and your business? Like, have you made much changes in your company?
Uh, to a certain level, we haven't made massive changes because our entire company is pretty much tech based now.
Hmm.
Our entire business is remote based as well. Like it can be remote. We do still show up at the office. We still have that old traditional model there.
Hmm.
However, everything we do is remote, and that was since the beginning. And since I joined this company, we've already transitioned through that. So
Nice.
we were, I guess, in a way ahead of the game. Right
Mm.
now, we are now working on other things and other projects. We're currently we took advantage of this time. We're building our own softwares right now for
Oh,
property
nice.
management. So the cool thing is a lot of the engineers and the developers are now have free time. And I'm not hiring someone local, obviously. They're way too expensive, right? But like
Mhm.
I'm talking about overseas, and these are highly reputable, highly reviewed people who are building our softwares, and they're usually really extremely busy. But now they're all free all across the world, and they've been building our software development, and we've been working on that. We've been working on ways to, the way I look at things is it's not about replacing the entire business. It's about replacing a small percentage of it and just
Mhm.
continuously upping that. And if you want, for example, if you want to automate something, you can't just automate the entire service. You have to automate it a small percentage at a time
Yes.
and just keep building upon that. We
Yeah.
fail because we try to automate everything at once, and that's where the problem begins.
Hmm.
It's too confusing. It's too much going on. You're like, oh my gosh, this is a massive change. It's not working.
Yeah.
But if you just automate a small thing you do, a tedious task, and you build upon that, that's so much easier. Anyways, I mean, we're working on that. We have changed few systems. Um, but other than that, like, I mean, minor changes. We haven't pivoted to the level I thought we would, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because it's showing casing that we've been pivoting since the beginning.
Mm,
Anyway, so
yeah. What are you most thankful for at this time? Like, what did you do prior that you're like, oh my goodness, I could not predict this was going to happen, but I'm so glad I did this in my business because it set us up for success through this time. Was there anything that you did differently?
I think as being tech forward, I think that's the biggest thing. Small things like, for example, our phone system. Simple thing. The entire phone system is connected to my phone, and
Mm,
I can like navigate. Like if you call my office, I'll go right to my phone. If I wanna call you, me through my office, I can call right off my phone. And they look like Ace Agency is calling you, like little things like that.
mm,
And it's been like my
yeah,
voicemails go to my emails, and I can forward calls within my office through my phone. It's like the platform, all the information, not like all the back end stuff is virtual as well.
yeah,
So I don't necessarily, in my position, I do not need to come to the office
yeah,
ever.
yeah,
I never. I can actually sit at home and do this. But the thing is, on a personal level, I need to come to the office. I
yeah,
can't work from home. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's efficient in any way. I think blended should be there, but I think the long term, I don't believe in being efficient at home. And that's me on a personal level. And I would be curious to see how, when people come out of this, how efficient they were truly were. So
yeah.
I don't believe everyone can be fully efficient at home. It sounds nice, but look how bored of people are, right? They're drinking,
Yeah.
becoming alcoholics.
Right, right. And especially if you're not used to working from home and you don't have a proper setup, and because this is pretty extreme, like it went from plugging into an office every day or to wherever you're working, like grocery store, restaurant, whatever it is. And then you have to shift that and work from home. And let's say you don't have a proper setup. Maybe you don't even have a computer, right? You don't know how to do Zoom conferencing. It's such a huge learning curve, and
Mhm,
you're also
mhm.
distracted by the people that you live with. You could get away with a lot of things if you don't have a team that's around you because now you're like taking afternoon naps, right? So the quality of work does decrease, as well as like the amount invested in work. So I'm looking at this right now and I'm like, I'm used to working from home, and I could just see people with they're not motivated. They can't
Mhm.
seem to get into the groove of things, right? So how many people do you have on your team? Is everyone working remote then?
No, everyone's working from the office, actually.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So we have few people working remotely, about
Yeah.
three, four of us, right?
Mhm.
And part of it was because they already were working remotely. So now they're just fully remote. And the ones who come to office, they don't necessarily have to be,
Mhm.
but it's also, uh, they prefer to be here as well.
Yeah.
So right now in office, about six of us. Like it's because the way it works is I'm not in the office all day. I'm usually out and about quite often. I mean, part of showings, look at new properties and acquisition, or dealing with problems and issues. But the day to day, we have about five people in the office at all times, generally,
Nice,
give or take. So
nice. How has your team helped you through this time?
I think we've all helped each other. It's not that they've helped me. It's more so a lot of policies that came in place. It was a team development thing,
Mhm.
because change is hard, and we're
Mhm.
all resistant to change, especially when things are working. And then all of a sudden this happens. So we did have some minor conflicts where we had to come to a conclusion of, how can we do this better? How can we change this? And it really took like actually a conversation with the team a few
Yeah.
times, and we actually developed strategies together. Like for example, the locked policy, doing pre-approvals. That was a team thing. That's not something I decided. It's something that we decided as a team. It's something that we all listened, because we all had our thoughts and opinions, but nothing was happening. So we
Mm,
actually sat down and thought about it. Okay, how
yeah.
can we do this better?
Yeah.
And what kind of strategies can we employ to avoid this and this and this, and then what kind of information, how can we educate our tenants that we're not going to be sending out maintenance for minor issues anymore,
Right.
only emergencies. You gotta, I don't care if you're, I don't know how to explain, your closet door is not installed properly. I'm sorry, put it aside then. I don't care. Wait till this is over and then we'll deal with it. If you're like plumbing issue, or if it's a hazard, or it's something that it's emergency of some kind, then we'll deal with it.
Right.
So it's been good. It's been good when we've been trying to employ different marketing techniques and strategies to get more showings, but it's been tough because a lot of people not wanting to move either. That has
Mhm.
drastically reduced. But
Yeah.
for what it's worth, we are moving pretty quick forward though. We're still
Yeah.
we're still making it shit happen. So
Nice. Nice. So what's your biggest advice for realtors if they've got landlords calling them thinking that they could be the trusted advisors, maybe realtors or landlords themselves. What is your biggest advice during this time for them?
um be patient. Uh you know, you need to be a leader, whether it's a leader of your rental property. It doesn't matter. You got to be a leader. What I mean by leading, um, you have to be informed, and it's your job as much as it is your tenant's job to be on top of the rent. Unfortunately, that's not the world works. The landlord should be informed of how the tenants can apply for benefits and grants. A lot of our tenants did not know or were not aware that they could apply for self-employed EI.
Mm,
A lot of our tenants did not know they could apply for the $500 grant. A lot of our seniors had no idea, and it's made a huge difference. So we sent letters, and then what we did in the beginning is we just sent kind of like mass emails in the beginning, and then kind of figured out who can figure it out, who can't, and then as it signed up, you start figuring out who's been paying, who's not. We started contacting them personally,
mm-hmm.
and instead of attacking them, we're like, hey, do you need some help? How can we
Yeah.
help you apply, or where are you stuck? Because people have different issues, their own personal problems, and some people not able to use a computer properly. Then
Yeah.
freaking just fill the form out for them and get them to sign, and there you go. It's just all it takes is communication. I'll go back to that communication. If you do not communicate and you react and you don't respond, you will lose. You should not be a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. The landlords have been getting easy. I'm telling you right now. These are the moments for realtors, for self professionals, for self-employed businesses, self-employed professionals of any kind. This, if you can't make it through this time, you should not be in business. Straight up, like you do not. You're not a true entrepreneur. What I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we will all lose some, but if you do not get out of this and pivot and focus on growth strategies and how you can overcome this, and if you don't do any of that, you should never be in business. Straight
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm.
Not everyone is not
Love
meant to
that.
have their own businesses. End of the day, right? Straight up, and you know that
Yeah.
from a lot of people. You've done
Yeah.
so much coaching, and some people just
Right.
can't be taught. You know?
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people, like during this time right now, because it's slow for a lot of businesses, people are forgetting to fill the pipeline. And because we're social distancing, this is where the human interaction has to come in. Like you have to go out of your way and go back and reconnect with your database and your clients, and actually care. You have to care. So I love how you said if reach back out to them and show them it and teach them if they need any help with anything. And I also think that's a really great way to reconnect as well as keep the pipeline going and lead generate all at the same time. But you want to come from a place of always having solutions for them and resources. So with that being said, I am going to share the screen again for the agents that are watching the replay of the landlordbc.ca website. They had this really great document for financial support for individuals, and I thought this would be a great way. I'm just going to hide our faces here. This is a great document that they can use to call their clients and say, Hey, I don't know if you're aware, but there is financial support programs for you. And what I'm going to do, let me just grab your email. I'll send it over to you. It'll talk about renters assistance program, the emergency benefit, income assistance, uh, EI. Not only does it have all these additional programs that people are not aware of, like student loans, registered retirement income funds,
Wow,
services
wow.
for people with
Th- th-
disabilities.
th- That's really great, actually, because
Yeah.
look at that. There's so much happening, and you know what? I didn't even know some of the stuff here. It's because it's like it's changing so fast,
Yes.
and I bet this is already outdated,
This is,
right?
yeah, because
You know
April
what I
9th,
mean?
and that's only a week ago, right? So, um, fortunately, here's the resources, here are the programs, here's the description and how you can access and like the agency. Fortunately, the template's there, so if it does continuously change, at least we have the resource for it to keep
Hmm.
updating ourselves, right?
That's really cool. That's extremely helpful, and I didn't know there was like senior assistants, and you know what? A lot of this information, a lot of people
Mhm.
don't know about it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know whoever's going to be watching this, but if you have a business and you've had employees in the last year, and you could be eligible for a $40,000 no interest loan, right? Which is
Mhm. Yeah.
huge because if you do pay it back, I think it's 2022 in January or something. So a year and a half from now, you'll get $10,000 waived.
Wow.
That's massive. That's 25%
Yeah.
gain on investment if you think
And
about it.
I wonder how many people know about that, right? So I'm just going to share the screen one more time, and this is just for anybody that is watching the replay. So in the Resilient AF Mastermind group, what I'll do is I'll keep all these resources for you. Oh, so the documents and the links that I'll share is landlordbc.ca, and this is the descriptions of all the programs that are available for funding. The other thing I wanted to share is the BC um, tenancy program, so the temporary rental supplement program. So that's a link
Mhm.
that I'll add to, and then the applications for temporary rental supplement. So resources will add into the group. Is there anything I'm missing, Jason, that might be a benefit for the agents or?
I think these are the good start. I know there's one website that can you scroll up for a sec on this one?
Yep.
I think that might be good for language, people with language barriers. There's another one.
Mm.
Let me just see if I can find it. Uh, it's something. It's a governmental. It's through the government, and it's a link. I think it's like covid.gov.bc.ca/COVID-19 or something. But
And
anyways,
what is it for?
it has everything, all the information. Like it's like a one-stop shop kind of idea.
Ooh, I think I
Um,
know which one you're talking about. I'm just gonna double check and see if I can find it.
well, this is what I found. It's so it's gov.bc.ca
Hmm.
slash COVID-19, maybe dash 19.
Okay, I'm just gonna share the screen. All
It's
right,
like a
so
one-stop
here we
shop
go.
for BC residents. Yeah,
This one.
yeah. It kind of
Awesome.
gives you a rundown of everything. And trust me, I don't know probably half of the stuff that's changing. I mean, does it apply to me? Not really, but there's cool things like BC Hydro, for example. They'll defer for 3 months, or I think waive 3 months.
Mm,
Things like
yeah.
that, and it also educates you on your rights as a landlord and a tenant. Because I mean, some tenants are going to be taken advantage of, and that's not fair to them either. So it's so good to be informed and a part of being a our professionals in our own career fields. We need to be aware, and that's something we need to be
Mm,
aware of. We need
yeah.
to always be informing ourselves and educating ourselves of what the situation, how things change, and We're not perfect. We know that. We all know that. You know that. It's just that we got to try our best at the
Mhm.
end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. This is honestly, everyone's at home. There's so many eyeballs on their screen. They're
Yeah.
all on the computer. And as a business owner, if you can leverage marketing right now, I would take advantage of it to stop the scroll. And what I mean by that is because you are wanting to be the expert in your industry, you want to come from a teaching perspective, especially being of service to your clients. Anything new you learn, make it content, right? Make a post on it, because this has never happened before. This is an opportunity to get out there and be in front of people, and really show that you're going out of your way to keep everyone informed.
You know, to add to that, I mean, this is a great. This is probably the best time you'll ever have in your life to reach out to potential people that you see yourself becoming, like mentors or icons in your industry. And what I mean by that is go on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
follow them, add them as a friend, message them.
Hmm.
And I'm talking message at least like 40, 50 of them, you know, like really reach out to them as best as you can and ask to talk to them. I'm
Hmm.
serious. This is your time. They all have free time. I'm sure they would love to sit down and talk to you on the phone or do a Zoom call. And you can learn so much from them, you know, through mentorship, wisdom, what they're doing. And especially if you see them as an icon in your industry or in your field, that's what I do. I love doing that. I love reaching out to I've reached out to multi-billionaires, you know, like I'm not, you know, I've reached out, asked some questions, shoot the shit, you know, and just learn and really engage. And sometimes you learn something, sometimes you don't. Sometimes all it takes is one sentence they tell you, and you implement that in your life, your career, your business, and everything pivots. So,
Yeah.
and I'm talking from personal experience that has pivoted certain things I've done in my life on a day to day.
Yeah.
So
I
don't
love
be afraid.
that. I love that. And you know what? Most of these mentors and coaches offer like a 30-minute free session or an hour, right? That's valuable time that you can learn a lot about yourself and also pick their brains, right? So that's amazing. You just have
Oh
to
yeah.
you have to be
Oh yeah.
okay with them selling you on their services, of course, right? Because we're all in sales at the end of the day. But that value that you get from it just for sharing that time with somebody else who's ahead of you.
Exactly. Like there is some truth. You gotta pick and choose your mentors and coaches. Sometimes they're not the right fit,
Yeah.
but I've done it where I've found some really good fit mentors in my life, and but even then, I'm talking to people who you want to become like. They're not necessarily a mentor or coach.
Mhm.
Like let's say you're a realtor and you know a rock star realtor, and he's up there from New York or Vancouver or wherever. Reach out to them. I shit you not. This is probably the best time where they'll give you the time of day and talk to you. They would love it. In fact, they're probably bored themselves and they're
Yeah,
like, they're lacking work, they're lacking things to
right.
do. And they'll probably be super excited just to talk to you and, you know, educate you
That's
for half
awesome.
an hour. So don't be afraid to reach out. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
mean, and coaching, like if you reach out to coaches and mentors, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what they do and they would love that actually.
Mhm.
But this is also an opportunity for busy individuals who never have the time and day to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So true. That's awesome. I love that advice. So we're just going to close up with a couple of questions I have for you personally, not related to business.
sure.
What do you miss most during this time on a personal level? Everyone's in quarantine. Like, what do you miss?
Mine's a little bit different. I was scheduled to get married in Mexico in 2 weeks.
Right.
So that did not that's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a big change that, you know, it took a lot of planning and getting things ready, and it's at the point where I haven't even picked up my tux and my wedding suit and stuff, and it's still sitting at the shop, like I
Right.
just didn't pick it up, like whatever. Now things have like
Yeah.
we had to cancel everything in Mexico and everything and reschedule. We don't know when it's rescheduling, but
Yeah.
we're going ahead and getting married in 2 weeks through like
Nice.
my engagement was 800 people, and now we're getting married through a commissioner at home, less than 10 people. So it's like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Now, I want a small wedding, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but not this small, you know? And it's just like,
Right.
holy shit. You know how Indian weddings are. Like,
Oh my goodness, I miss them. I think that's what I miss the most. I actually reached out to one of my friends and I'm like, "Are you getting married soon?" Because I miss Indian weddings. They're so much fun. But that isn't
exactly.
change. What if that's the new way of things now, though? You just have to do a
I'm
Zoom
sure.
call. Zoom
Uh,
call for everybody to come in.
yeah, that's what exactly we're gonna do for my wedding in 2 weeks. And Jyoti,
Oh,
she's like, well, let's just continue our marriage and move in together. And because
yeah,
we haven't moved in together, and now we are, so
yeah,
we're just going as normal. And we'll
right,
just do the wedding afterwards next year
right.
sometime.
Nice.
Still in
Pandemic
Mexico.
is not stopping you from love. That's amazing.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's a big one. Otherwise, gym is so important. I miss the gym, but I'm getting back out there though, going for runs and doing things differently. Sometimes
Mm.
it's a nice change, actually.
Right.
I really
Yeah.
like it,
I
but
found
it's
that for
packed.
myself too. Yeah, at Rotary.
Rotary, it's stupid.
Mhm,
It's packed. Rotary is our stadium in Abbotsford, like where you
mhm.
can go for runs. It's just jam packed right now. So it's like,
So much for social distancing, eh?
oh
I
no.
actually know people conducting like social distancing personal training, and it's like, okay, for a regular outdoor personal training session, you were already going to distance yourself from all the space. Like, you know how people just leverage it, right? They're like, okay, social distancing workout, come join us. I was like, that's pretty smart, right? Marketing tool. Now
Yeah.
the last question I want to finish off with is what is your ultimate business goal right now? Like what are you during this time, what are you working on ultimately?
My personal goal is to become a tech company, a
Oh, I like
fully tech
that.
company. My goal is to transition from property management into tech property management,
Hmm.
and my goal is to start a tech company that kills my own business.
Wow.
So that's my lifelong
Amazing.
goal right now.
I love that. I didn't know that about you. So you'll keep us up to date then. I
Yeah,
love
yeah, that's part of the reason why we're getting into software development, and it's been
cool.
pretty good. And we're almost done. We're on to phase two now, and it's things are moving forward. Things are moving. It is our first step, again, baby step,
Hmm.
to transition to fully automated business,
Hmm.
and that it will be the goal. I don't see the traditional model of realtors and property managers and mortgage brokers to be a thing. We will have to
Right.
transition. If you as a professional think your job's going to be there the way it is, because if you look at yourself, you coach and you create systems.
Hmm.
You mean what you really mean is you're automating their life in a certain
Yes.
fashion.
Yes.
Eventually someone like yourself is going to create automation where it could technically replace them, god forbid. The human connect is important,
Hmm.
but with COVID-19, is it
Hmm.
that important anymore?
Hmm.
you
It's
can you
true.
can you can get prescriptions, you can talk to a doctor over the phone now. Who
Yeah.
says you can't do that with a realtor over the phone?
Yep.
You know, things will change dramatically, and I think this is a time to embrace technology to another level. You got to remind yourself, 2008, the one of the largest businesses in the world came out of 2008. WhatsApp, Pinterest,
Hmm.
Uber, um, what else was there? Slack, a few more other business I can't remember on top
I'm
of my
sure
head.
even Zoom.
Possibly, a lot of
Yeah.
these businesses came out of during recession. Now,
Yeah.
what's going to happen now is going to be amazing. So this is your opportunity to build systems for yourself. How you continue helping out realtors, but now you got to take the next step.
Yes.
Right?
For
If things
sure.
are going well, great, good for it, great for you. But you still got to plan ahead,
Yeah.
and the plan should be what will people use 10 years from now.
Hmm.
So
That's great advice. And if we really think about it, we are being introduced to artificial intelligence taking over and replacing a lot of jobs. So we have to think outside the box now. We have to adapt as human beings because that it's an extension of us. And I like to say, like, we were always kind of introduced because driving a vehicle, that is an extension of the human being, right? So now a lot of this artificial intelligence tools that are coming out, those are just extensions of human beings. And that is the adaptation phase that we're going through, which is insane. And if anyone's watching this and they just don't even know where to take their business now because they're so used to being like in person physical, and they're stuck in a rut, what's the biggest advice you can give realtors who are like, I don't even know what to do in my business anymore? Mortgage brokers, right? Everything's slow, don't have the motivation. What's your biggest advice for them?
Um, okay, we're gonna take a step back on that. If you're in a rut, take a step back with all this technology systems. Systems only work if you got business, straight up. You don't
Hmm.
like there's a certain level of systems you need, but if you got nothing going for you right now, you're in the bottom of the pit. So you no technology, no system is going to change your life. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some things you can implement, but stick to the traditional route. If you really are in bottom, now this is without knowing if you have a book of business, previous business. That's where systems come in along. But if you're just starting out and you're on the bottom of the pit, pick up your phone and start calling everyone. Stick to
Yeah.
the basics. Just call every single person, and then every person you call, put it in a system where you call them, you talk to them, take notes of them. Stick to the basics. Like in the beginning of any business, you gotta don't you can't beat the traditional stuff. That will never go away. Like it will one day, but that traditional format will change. But right now, stick to the basics. Don't jump the gun,
Mm-hmm.
and just pick up your phone and call every person and just tell them what you do. Shoot the shit. You got all the time in the world. Just do it. And I think people skip that step all the time, and then they fail.
Yeah.
Systems are so important, and technology and AI is so important, but you got to get things rolling first.
Hmm.
You know that, right? So I mean,
I know that. I have, oh, so many agents reach out to me and they're like, can you set up systems for me? And the first question I ask is, how many deals are you doing consistently a month? Because if it's zero, I can't set anything up. If it's two, at least consecutively every month, yeah, then we have systems we can implement because there's
Mhm.
processes and procedures, right? But if you're not making anything, you have to go back to basics and learn how to lead generate then. That's where you got to start. And then
Mhm.
through that, we can create systems. But you need to know how to bring in some money first. So that's what I would target first. But yeah, you're so right. Like a lot of people will come to me wanting systems in place, but they don't actually have any business that they're bringing in. So the systems don't make sense. You just
No,
have,
it doesn't.
yeah,
No.
it doesn't make sense at all. And you can't go through it. You can't use it. You can't train somebody to use it.
Yeah.
So I don't like wasting other people's time. So I always, that's my first question. They're always shocked by that. They're like, wait, what? Don't you set up systems? I'm like, yeah, but you need to actually know how to bring in an income and lead
It,
generate.
it's it's a lazy mentality, and I see that all the time myself. I've done it myself. I tried skipping that basics, the essential step, and I failed miserably in many things
Yeah.
in life. And that's why it's so important. Stick to your grassroots, stick to
Yeah.
the basics. You don't need anything. You just need a
Mm.
phone and call every person you know,
Right.
and then ask
LinkedIn
for
is a
leads.
gold mine. Your
Yeah,
cell
like
phone, gold mine.
if I were to call you, Swami, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a business. I'm looking for landlords. Swami's like, oh, I don't know. I'm not one, but I have 5 friends who are landlords, and I can give you their number, and you can talk to them. And that's where the extension starts. That's where the lead generating starts, and you just keep calling, keep calling, keep calling. Do 100 calls a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone has all the time in the day right now. This is the best time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not making it calls, like if your business is slow and you're not making calls, you're failing yourself.
Right. And it doesn't have to be a cold call. It's because it's your contacts in your phone. It's a warm call. Call and care. Just check in. Just say, hey, how are you doing during this time? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you need from me? Right? Like, how's your family doing? What are they doing? Here's my resource list that will link in the group that you can send, right? So that you don't feel salesy or like there's other intentions there.
Yeah, totally. I'm a full agreed. I agree with you 100%.
Awesome. This was amazing. I learned so much. I'm so excited to share this with everybody. Any last things that you want to share?
Thank you for inviting me. This
You're
is really
welcome.
cool. Interesting. It's our first time doing this with you, Sami, and
Yeah,
to do more with you in the future. And as we both grow,
totally.
I've known you for quite some time, actually. I don't remember for a long time, high school days.
Yeah,
And
I bought my cell phone from you at Rogers. Everyone,
oh
oh, that's what everyone said.
shit!
They're like, go see Jason at Rogers. And I was like, okay, cool. And I think you just hooked me up with like everything. You're like, yeah, here's a phone. Here's like $0 on it. Here's a sick ass contract. I'm like, oh, cool. Everyone, go see Jason for Rogers.
Oh,
That's awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
we go
that's
way
crazy.
back. So
Yeah,
it's amazing to see your development and your growth as well. Like, cause
yours as well.
just yeah, we've just like transformed into different niches and areas. But what I'm going to use this interview for is to have some evergreen content. We'll put it on as a podcast because this was amazing tips. Like this is stuff that people can use for forever. Yeah, that's
Awesome, and I appreciate it again for inviting me out
awesome.
here. And again, it's something to do, right? I mean,
Yeah,
work isn't the same, obviously, but this is stuff that keeps us productive and learning
yeah,
and
from each other.
engaging, and then all that. So awesome! Thanks again, Sami.
Oh, you're
Appreciate it.
welcome. I just want to drop a contact info for anyone who's interested in property management for the Fraser Valley. Any other areas that you cover?
Focus Fraser Valley. I mean,
Okay.
we can do more, but let's just focus Fraser Valley for now.
Okay. So can you tell us how everyone can reach out to you and contact you?
You can call or email me. Email is jason at aceagencies.ca, or you can call me or office 604-853-2718.
Perfect.
So, I mean, or Facebook message me. I mean, that's probably going to be the easiest, let's be honest here. But
Quicker response. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
For
totally.
sure.
But
Okay.
I'm available if you have questions, concerns, you have confused, you don't know what to do, give me a shout. I can try my best to help. I mean, the other day, my buddy from Alberta was asking me for advice. I'm like, bro, I don't know the legislation on Alberta, but like I started Googling it while talking to him, and
Yeah,
you find some similarities and kind of figure out a game plan, right? So,
totally.
yeah,
Cool. So I'm going to link you up in the groups and all the resources as well, and the stuff that you guys can send to your clients. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And Jason, I'll connect with you later.
awesome.
Nice
Thanks, Tommy.
chatting with you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye. You too.
Bye.